Hello and welcome to Baltimore Penn Station. Today we are going to be taking an evening commute up to Wilmington on Amtrak's Northeast Regional. Baltimore Penn Station was built back in 1911 by the Pennsylvania Railroad. In its first years of operation, the station was named Union Station as it served both the Pennsylvania and Western Maryland railroads. Unfortunately, the beautiful station entrance is covered in scaffolding as the building is undergoing a refresh. The facade refresh is only the beginning of a remodeling plan that was announced earlier this year. The new plan for Baltimore Penn Station will include a full preservation of the main station building in addition to the construction of a new North Concourse. The North Concourse will feature new retail and restaurant spaces with upgraded station facilities integrating directly with the old station and the new high-speed rail platform. The plan is a huge step forward for Baltimore Penn Station and really travel in the Northeast as a whole, and I cannot wait for construction on the project to begin. Passing under the scaffolding, we can step through the entrance and into the train hall. The train hall in Baltimore is absolutely stunning. Passengers are met with marble walls and columns, gold-plated light fixtures, a balcony to the offices on the second level, all of which is illuminated by the massive stained glass skylights above. And those skylights are truly something else. Looking at an aerial view, the skylights aren't directly exposed to the elements, as there is a traditional glass ceiling above them, but that doesn't mean plenty of natural light can't stream through them, highlighting the ornate and colorful glasswork. Moving our attention to the train information board in the center of the hall, we can find that our train, Amtrak Northeast Regional number 138, is still scheduled for an on-time departure of 6:38 p.m. from track 6. Seeing as we only had around 20 minutes between now and our departure time, I decided to head down to track level to wait for our train. Just as we stepped off the escalator, Amtrak Train 92, the Silver Star, pulled in on track 6. The Silver Star is one of two Silver Service trains that operate between Miami and New York. Across the platform on track 7 is Northeast Regional Train 173, pulling away from Baltimore en route to Washington. Speaking of routes, let's take a look at our route up to Wilmington. Our journey begins with an eastbound departure, passing under East Baltimore and out into Maryland. The Northeast Corridor begins to curve further north through Middle River and Chase, crossing the Gunpowder and Bush Rivers and flying past Aberdeen a few minutes later. We then cross the Susquehanna River, cruising past Northeast, Elkton, and the Maryland-Delaware border. Newark is the first major city on our ride today, but we're not stopping here, continuing on for our first and only stop at our destination, Wilmington. We'll cover just over 68 miles between Baltimore and Wilmington this evening with a travel time of 45 minutes. Right as the clock is about to hit 6:38, our train pulls in on track 6 and we can climb aboard. We're seated in coach for today's ride, and after getting seated, train 138 departs for this non-stop ride to Wilmington. Our train dips into the tunnels below Baltimore, which gives us an opportunity to have a quick look at our seating on board. Seating in coach is comfortable as always. There's around 5 to 6 inches between my knees and the seat back, with enough space to stretch out a bit. The usual seat back pocket is right where we expect it to be and holds the safety information card for our Amfleet 1 coach. The tray table folds down from the seat back and is large enough for medium-sized laptops or smaller meals. Above the seats in each row are the usual lights with outlets on the walls just below the windows. Seat adjustments are made using the button on the sides of each seat and reclines the seat back another 15 to 20 degrees. The tunnel's end and the evening light comes streaming in through the windows as we make our way through the outskirts of Baltimore. It was starting to get pretty late in the evening and I hadn't had much to eat today, so I decided it was time to head down to the cafe car and grab something for dinner. Amtrak's cafe offers a wide variety of snacks and drinks, plus a few hot options for lunch and dinner. The options seen here are actually a bit outdated, as the menu has recently been revamped. Amtrak added more breakfast, lunch, and dinner options, plus new drinks and reduced prices on some existing items. Everything was quite enticing, but I decided to try a healthier option, selecting the fresh Southwest salad bowl as a sort of appetizer ahead of a full dinner later that day. In all honesty, the quality of the bowl was much higher than I was expecting. The lettuce was crisp and fresh, and the selection of chopped veggies on top made for a healthy, filling meal. For $9, I was expecting a total ripoff, but this wasn't nearly as bad as what I had anticipated. Was it still a little overpriced? Yes, but it was way better value than I had first thought, so if you're looking for a lighter, healthier option, then I highly suggest the bowl. As we reached rural Maryland, the speeds picked up, peaking at our maximum operational speed of 125 miles an hour. Our train slows a bit for our crossing of the Gunpowder River. Although not the tallest or most spectacular bridge on today's ride, it is the longest, spanning around 4,780 feet across the water. Amtrak advertises free Wi-Fi on all Northeast Regional trains, although after connecting to the network and conducting a speed test, the results are rather disappointing. The free Wi-Fi is virtually unusable, coming in at an abysmal 0.3 megabits per second. It's possible that it was just this coach that had bad Wi-Fi, as I have had trains with much better connectivity, but I definitely wouldn't rely on Amtrak's Wi-Fi if you really need to access the internet. Stepping back into the aisle, we can make our way towards the front of the coach to check out the bathrooms on board. Amtrak's Amfleet 1 coaches include 2 bathrooms, with 1 regular and 1 accessible. Stepping into the regular bathroom, we can slide the door closed behind us, a helpful light illuminating once the door is locked. Amtrak's bathrooms are okay, sitting about 1 step above regular commuter rail facilities. The sink works well with plenty of soap, paper towels, and toilet paper. The 120-volt outlet is found next to the countertop and appears to be in good working order. It's a bathroom for sure, and it gets the job done. The Susquehanna River and associated river bridge come into view as we return to our seat. The pillars of the previous PW&B railroad bridge remain in the foreground, the bridge itself having been demolished in 1906. As we cover these final miles up to Wilmington, it's time for some stats for nerds. Our train this evening is Amtrak Northeast Regional number 138 and is powered by Siemens ACS64 locomotive number 624. Each ACS64 is powered by Siemens 3-phase AC traction motors. These motors produce a continuous output of 6,700 horsepower, but locomotives can boost up to a total of 8,600 horsepower or 6,400 kilowatts over shorter intervals. This 6,400 kilowatts is also the origin for the 64 in the name ACS64. Although they can top out at 135 miles an hour, ACS64s are only operated at a top speed of 125 and only on select sections of track along the corridor, like the one seen here. Consists on the Northeast Regional can vary in length, with our train made up of 9 Amfleet 1 coaches. 7 of the 9 are coach cars, with 1 cafe car and 1 business class car at the end of the train. Our non-stop journey flies by, and before we know it, our engineer pulls back on the throttle, slowing train 138 for our arrival in Wilmington. Our train comes to a stop, and we can step out onto the platforms. We didn't get a good look at it ahead of departure, but leading the way this evening is ACS 64 number 624, one of Amtrak's many Siemens locomotives. As we wait for train 138 to depart, Acela train 2169 pulls in on its way down to Washington, D.C. Right as train 2169 comes to a halt, Locomotive 624 powers up, pulling train 138 out of Wilmington. With our train departed and Acela 2169 pulling away, we can bring today's video to a close. If you're new around here, then why not hit that subscribe button? It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. There's a lot more incredible content on the way, so stick around if you want to see more. As always, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my patrons and channel members. If you too want your name in the video or just want to support the channel in more ways than one, then head on over to the links in the description below. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Thanks for riding with me, and I'll see you in the next one.